so nice to finally get a green day like this on the bubbles. It really is so nice to get a green day. What is this CHT that's up 70.9%? I don't know, but did you know that you could, on Banter Bubbles, you can actually just pop the bubble. You just click here, you just pop the bubble, and then it just resizes all the other bubbles. Anyway, it's so good to have a green day like this on the bubbles after all that we've been through. In fact, if you think about where we were about 10 days ago, everyone thought it was going to be the end of crypto. Everyone thought that all our favorite tokens were going to be securities. We had the DOJ going up against Binance and against Coinbase, and we really, well, some people thought that this industry was absolutely over. And now we get one green day like this, and guess what? We are so fucking back. We are just so fucking back. And what we've got now is we've got Bitcoin leading the charge. Now, I want to talk to you about this little Bitcoin rally because it's not actually what you think is going on here. Everyone said this is a short squeeze. I'm going to show you that this is actually not a short squeeze. It's actually buying of Bitcoin from people inside the United States. And I'm going to show you who's actually buying the tokens inside the United States. But regardless of what's going on here with Bitcoin, we do have Bitcoin dominance up to 51.12%. Now, what's happening with Bitcoin dominance is something very unique. You now have Bitcoin dominance going up by 1 percentage point every single day. Now, I know one thing when it comes to charts. When something starts moving up too quickly, when something starts to accelerate upwards too quickly, that's usually probably the end point of the rally. So we should be talking about that. And it even paints a much scarier picture when you look at it on the Bitcoin dominance and you exclude the stable coins. And it's important to exclude those stable coins because you exclude the stable coins to look at the altcoin market without the actual USDC and USDT. So it's like the true altcoin market. And when you look at the true altcoin market here, you see that Bitcoin is moving up very, very, very aggressively against the altcoins. And it's actually completely murdering the altcoins. And we know this because we're actually in those altcoins and we know how hard our portfolios have actually been hit. And if you look at this, it's a great visualization of what's happened to our favorite altcoins and our favorite narratives in the last 90 days, 60 days, and 30 days. It's been brutal. It's been very, 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 very tough to be in the altcoin market. You can see like the metaverse tokens in the last 90 days down 36%. That's like the Phantom ecosystem down 50% more or less. Optimism, Arbitrum ecosystems down 50%. It's been brutal being in alts. And if you look at the bubbles and you put them onto the monthly time frame, let me just refresh the monthly time frame and let me just pop that bubble over there. You can see it's been a real rough month for altcoins, but there may be something good here on the horizon. I'll show you what it is. I did see this. This is the Ethereum chart. And when I look at the ETH chart, it has been in this channel for a long time. It's been in this channel since about April. And it looked like earlier today when I was looking at when I was just making the show, we almost got a breakout here. So it might be worth watching this Ethereum chart to see if we can get some kind of movement in the altcoins, especially because ETH BTC has been heading to low. So maybe right now we are talking about a huge acceleration in Bitcoin, but that might actually translate into a run that may actually go into the altcoins and some of the other parts of the market. Are they commenting about my shirt? Are they saying it's trippy? Okay, so they didn't say my shirt. You see, it's not trippy. It's not trippy. I also want to talk to you about that. A lot of people say it's clickbait. I'm going to show you how you can buy a Bitcoin for 19,200. I'm also going to show you today, you can actually buy a Bitcoin today for 19,200. And I'm going to show you how other people are actually flocking in to buy this cheap Bitcoin. And I don't know how much longer we're going to have this cheap Bitcoin for. Then also, we're going to talk about the Silk Road coins that are on the market. Now, I have to talk to you about this because the last time that we had the Silk Road Bitcoin allegedly on the move, it was like a rumor that the Silk Road Bitcoin were on the move. The market crashed 7%. This time, the Silk Road Bitcoin are actually on the move and the market's going up. That can only happen in crypto, guys. Anyway, we've got a huge show here today. We're going to do, we did start a little bit late, but we've got a massive show here. Alpha packed to the hilt. Let's go. All right, listen. If you're new to our channel, quickly subscribe. We don't have much time to waste today. And if you've been here for a long time, just like this content. Help us get it out there. See, there's 335 likes. Let's see if we can obliterate that. Let's see if we can get over 2,000 likes to the show. We did manage to do it yesterday, so let's go. Before we start, I just have to show you why you should never, ever get your crypto information from mainstream media. Okay, this is why you can never, ever get your crypto information from mainstream media.
Seized by the Romanian authorities. Very interestingly, also here they detail this. The money that they say they wanted to seize included €52,500, $17,000, £10,000, but also over 21 million Bitcoin. For those of you who have followed the value of Bitcoin, that works out as nearly $400 million that they say they want to seize from the Tate brothers. Now, why they're seized by the Romanian?
Did you hear that? So they want to seize over 21 million Bitcoin from the Tate brothers, valued at, what do you say, 21? What do you say it's valued at? 400 and? 400 million. Hold on, let's just listen to that again, just so we can.
That works out as nearly $400 million.
So look, I mean, if you do have over 21 million Bitcoin, at least you know you have way more than $21 million. Over 21 million Bitcoin. That is why we get our information from us. That's why you get your information from us and not from the mainstream media. I may not be able to afford a suit and tie, but I can tell you that there's less than 21 million Bitcoin, and there's no way that they're seizing over 21 million Bitcoin from the Tate brothers. Anyway, you can see the mood here today is very upbeat. It's not only here, it's the whole office is very, very upbeat. We get one green day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so fucking back. You can see, yeah, guys, come on, we're all back, we're back. A week ago, people were asking me whether they should stay in crypto. Today, everybody here is invigorated and ready to rock and roll. We see the tokens are going up. We see some altcoins going up. We've got BCH going up 21.5%. I'm going to show you why. Conflux going up 22.32%. I'm going to show you why. Flow going up 19.09%. I have no fucking idea why. Render up 15.37%. I'm going to show you why. Injective up 14.79%. I'm going to show you why. Stacks up 16.9%. I'm going to show you why. Peppy up 14.09%. I have no fucking idea why that token is moving. So I'm not going to show you why that's happening. Anyway, be that as it may, where are we now? We are actually up for the month of June. And we've erased all of May's losses, so we're pretty much, you could say, up a lot for the year. We're very much up a lot for the year. And a lot of people yesterday said, "Oh, this is finally that short squeeze that everybody's been waiting for." Wrong. This is not a short squeeze, or at least it didn't start as a short squeeze. Actually, very, very, very interesting what happened here. It started off as just spot buying. So people said it's a short squeeze. Key Young-Ju, who's the founder of CryptoQuant, that's it. He said, no, guys, this is not a short squeeze. This is actually spot buying, okay? Which kind of makes sense because I think that's what's happening now. Specifically, since this whole institutional takeover of crypto, which we started reporting on a few days ago, which we thought may just be this fake narrative, but it's actually turning out that it's actually not one of these crypto bro fake narratives. It's a real narrative that all of a sudden, it feels like coincidentally, just after the SEC attacks and just after everybody went after crypto, that all of a sudden, TradFi just came in and started to take over. I know it seems absolutely coincidental, but what you can see is you can see that everyone thought that it was a short squeeze. Then what you actually realize is no, it's actually driven by spot and specifically on Coinbase and specifically in the United States. So what we're seeing is we saw a increase in buying in the United States on spot, not on derivatives, because derivatives get liquidated. They get short squeezed. Spot buyers don't get short squeezed because they just hold on to their portfolio. And what you can see is that it happened during US trading hours. So this is very, very, very clearly started off as spot buying in the US, specifically in the US. But then we got to a certain point where the spot buyers started to squeeze the people that were short. And then it did actually start turning into some kind of short squeeze. And you can see that here. You can look at all these short liquidations over here, and you can see how the liquidations per hour actually started to go up over here. So it did start off as a short squeeze, but as more and more US people started buying spot, then we got that squeeze. And now I think what we're having is this combination, this magical combination of FOMO, massive FOMO, because that's what's starting to happen in the market. You even see people like Edward Snowden, who's been around for a long time. He says, there's still a lot of trouble ahead, but for the first time in a while, I'm starting to feel the itch to scale back in. So you're starting to see this FOMO of getting into the markets. And it's not a retail FOMO. It's not a retail FOMO. It's a retail FOMO plus an institutional FOMO who all of a sudden want to start playing in crypto. So it's not like the normal FOMO that we get, which is retailers. And we saw that yesterday because all of a sudden we went from a negative OI, a negative open interest to going straight back up here, which means that people all of a sudden got confidence, started getting FOMO, and actually started to FOMO into Bitcoin. Now, traditionally, when that happens and you get a green candle like that, generally that's where I stop buying. So to be honest, I have been buying. I bought a 26, I bought a 26.5, I bought a 27, I bought a 27.5. Now I've actually slowed down. I'm really doing my best not to take any more positions for a little while on Bitcoin. Why? Because we have actually gone up quite a bit, and I think that we're going to have some kind of pullback as soon as all this short covering finishes, and as soon as this open, as soon as the all the shorts get squeezed and this open interest gets squeezed. What you can also see is that the type of interest that we now have in Bitcoin is very, very, very much an institutional interest. So it's not the retail players anymore. It is a more TradFi, more institutional interest. And you can see that, first of all, the CME basis, which is the futures price less the spot price, has been trending up all day, which means that the traditional institutions are actually starting to buy this. We also see options in very, 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 very high demand. And specifically, which options are the ones that are in high demand? The ones with a June 2024 expiry. Why do you think that the June 2024 expiry options are the ones in high demand? Because people want to buy options for Bitcoin after the halving, but also after the BlackRock ETF decision. Because what does an option actually do? An option gives you the right, but not the obligation, to buy Bitcoin at a set point in time at a set price. I actually want to show it to you. So let's actually go to our option partners in 𝗕𝗏𝗃. And let's go look at what these options that are actually spiking to the roof are. So here it is. That's the 𝗕𝗏𝗃 page. Now, we have taught you guys how to do these options, but let's go to June 2024. Okay, we don't have a June 24 here. Let's go to March 2024 here. And you can see that you can buy an option to buy Bitcoin at, say, $30,000 by just paying $5,000 today. So you pay $5,000 today. You can see it there. And you can buy an option for $30,000. Now, what these guys are actually doing is they are buying these options for June next year. And why they're doing it? Because it's after the halving and it's also after the BlackRock ETF decision. And they think that you can pay $5,000 today and you'll get all the upside in Bitcoin. And that's what the big institutions are doing a year from now. So this is not retail buying. This is institutional buyers getting FOMO. And it's like a whole lot of different types of FOMO since the BlackRock ETF decision. The first type of FOMO is they're just starting to buy. The second type of FOMO is everybody's starting to apply for an ETF because they know that the SEC against BlackRock is actually a picture which looks something like this. So you've got like BlackRock and all their power and all their connections, and then you've got like this cracking wall, which is the SEC. And what they think, or what people are betting on, which is why they are buying the options for 1 year from now, and what they're betting on is that this ETF will get approved. And that's why a lot of other ETFs have now been submitted. So you've got the Wisdom Tree Bitcoin Trust ETF now being submitted. Invesco reactivated a ETF decision, which they dropped. Now, when they dropped it at the recommendation of the SEC. So what happened specifically with this one, and it happens with a lot of other ones, is that the SEC kind of, what's the word? Not warn, but they suggest. They become suggestive. They suggest to people. They say, look, we suggest that you drop your ETF. That way we don't have to reject it. You don't have to have the egg on your face that we've rejected it. Now, this ETF, which was dropped, they've now put it back. So you're getting like multiple types of FOMO here. First, you're getting the retail buyers FOMOing in. Then you're getting the institutional buyers FOMOing in. But then you're getting the service providers also now FOMOing in and saying, look, we want to get into this crypto game. We're going to take all these ETF decisions that we traditionally, we put them to rest. We didn't want them anymore. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put them back into the system, and hopefully we can get approved before very close to the BlackRock ETF. So BlackRock won't get the monopoly on the ETFs when eventually this wall here over here breaks, which is, I think, inevitable. As I said before, I think that, you know, when Gary wants to take on small crypto projects. So he's like a bully. He comes in and, you know, it's like comes like chest out against small crypto projects. But when it's Gary against Larry Fink, and Larry Fink is practically the US government, I think that Gary's like, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's very different when he's up against the crypto projects, ready to come for, you know, whatever, come at me. But it's very different when it's about when he's going up against Larry Fink, because he can't do that chest out kind of thing. I think it's more like yes sir, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, sir. I think that's what's going to happen. So that's what's going on in the market. Only 681 likes. What is going on here? Where is everyone? Green day, guys. So that's what's going on. I mean, you got to be really, really, really naive to think that all of these institutions are coming into crypto coincidentally, 7 days after the SEC sued Coinbase and Binance. Like, if you think that BlackRock, Citadel, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Wisdom Tree Funds, and Invesco all came here coincidentally 7 days after this all happened, then you must be new here. I mean, let me be polite. You must be really new here if you think that this is all a coincidence. It's definitely not a coincidence. It has to be a coordinated effort by TradFi. And Preston Pisher actually says, I'm sorry, after watching BlackRock, Fidelity, Citadel, Charles Schwab, and now Deutsche Bank all apply for Bitcoin ETFs, spot exchanges, etc., only a few days after the SEC drops a TRO on Binance and sues Coinbase, how can't you think that this entire past year was a giant insider job coordinated between the Wall Street parasites and the government regulators so that they could catch up? I mean, it's now becoming a lot more obvious. Now, I don't really care if this video gets banned from YouTube, so be it. But I mean, you can kind of see what's going on here. You know that traditional finance are the people that are actually driving the SEC. And how simple is it to go after the incumbents, to weaken the incumbents, to go after Binance and Coinbase, and then to come in and to try and scoop up the market share in the crypto market? I mean, if you're not seeing that, then as I say, you must really, really, really be new here. And so we also saw this yesterday, and this was we mentioned on our show yesterday. It was a crypto exchange backed by Citadel Securities, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, starts operations. It's called EDX Markets. Now, this is actually the reason why tokens like BCH are up so much today. Tokens like Litecoin were up a lot today. And the reason is because what these guys actually are I'm going to quote 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪 So what is it? It's a non-custodial exchange, which is actually owned by Fidelity, Citadel, Charles Schwab, and Charles Schwab. Now, who's it run by? It's run by this guy. His name is Jamil Nazarili. And if you look at Jamil Nazarili's history, what you can see is that Jamil was spent a long time actually at Citadel. So you can see he spent 5 years at Citadel and then another 4 years in another role at Citadel. So this guy seems like he has 8 years or 9 years or something, actually more, since September 2011. So this guy's been at Citadel for a long, long, long time. And then he left Citadel and then jumped into this new exchange called EDX. I mean, I think basically what happened is he was at Citadel, he spent a long time at Citadel, and then he got a whisper in his ear saying, look, we need you to go and do another project for us. It's going to be a partnership between us and Charles Schwab and a whole lot of our friends, and it's a crypto project. And then this guy leaves Citadel and goes to work in this new venture, which is actually backed by Citadel, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab. Now, they have currently got 4 tokens listed. They've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. So for those of you who are paying attention, the reason today why BSV didn't move in conjunction with BCH, why BCH moved double what BSV moved, isn't because of the normal things. It's because BSV is not listed on this exchange and BCH is actually listed on this exchange. And that's why today we got this huge pump in BCH. So let's quickly go to BCH and you can see the pump for yourselves. When the market realized exactly what's going on here it is. How's that pump? It actually went all the way up to 141. I think I've actually got a position. I have got a position in BCH. I took a bit of profit on it today. I just think when a green candle like that actually happens, you have to take profit on it. So as Ram says, he says, since its inception, it has facilitated trading in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. But get how they do it here. So these guys are not running a custodian exchange where you send them your funds and then they match buyers and sellers on their platform. They are bringing an institutional type exchange, a traditional old institutional type exchange into the crypto game. So what they're doing is, so it says the exchange facilitates the matching of buy and sell orders akin to the role of a traditional exchange like NASDAQ or NYSE. The critical distinction is that EDX does not handle customer funds. The non-custodial aspect refers to its settlement process, and what happens is essentially what they want to do is they want to set up a settlement house, like in traditional finance. They want to set up like a settlement clearinghouse later this year. So what these guys are doing is they are starting a institutional exchange to allow them to trade crypto in the way that they know how to trade using a clearinghouse and in a way that is, shall we say, much more compliant with the current SEC process, rather than trying to reinvent the process, which is what crypto exchanges actually started to do. So we are getting this FOMO of all these people actually coming into the market. You can see it. I showed you how the retail FOMO started to play out yesterday. I showed you how the institutions are starting to move into this ETF game, what the institutions are seeing is they're starting to see the money. They're starting to see the size of the funds that may actually come in here. So as Adam Cochran says, he says there's $60 trillion in pension funds and $250 trillion in private retirement savings. Funds put around 3% of that into gold and 20% of it into alternative assets. Crypto has a 0.12 value to cash ratio. Currently, he's saying even if we only went to 0.5 of the 23% went into crypto, that would 15x the crypto market. That is what they're seeing. They're seeing how you can make this into a legitimate asset class. So how an ETF will make it into a legitimate asset class. And when that happens, which is what's currently happening, there is a lot of money for the taking. And that's why they're all starting to get these ETFs. They're all trying to get into exchanges. They're all trying to get into custodianship. There's almost like this FOMO now from the institutions to actually get into crypto. And you can see it everywhere. One place where you can really see it, and this is a real telltale sign, is over here. So that is the chart of the GBTC shares. Now, we've been speaking about GBTC for a long time. In fact, I've always said to you guys that if you want to buy Bitcoin, and if you want to buy Bitcoin less than the market price, and that's why I use this thumbnail over here, saying, look, the price of Bitcoin today is 28,800, but if you want, you can actually buy a Bitcoin equivalent with some T's and C's at about 19,200. And I've always said that that is one of the smartest trades for anyone who wants to enter into Bitcoin. What you do is you start buying into GBTC. I want to just show you the last time that we spoke about it. The discount was about 45%. Just listen to what we said. And it seems that the market is starting to price in the fact that we may get an ETF soon, because yesterday when we started this case, we had the Grayscale discount at about minus 46%. And then when it closed, it's actually now at about minus 32%. So I'm not tracking it live, I'm tracking it on yesterday's close. But the discount has now gone to 32%. Now, we've been telling you for a while that we think it's a great trade to buy the GBTC, because when it went down to minus 48%, we said, look, eventually it's going to go to zero, because if this thing is converted into an ETF, it is actually going to go to zero. Now the big question. So that's exactly the trade here. That's exactly the trade here. You've got this GBTC trust. Inside the GBTC trust, all you have is Bitcoin. It's a trust, and all that this trust holds is Bitcoin. And I think today they hold 631,000 Bitcoin. That is all that this trust holds. It holds only Bitcoin. Now, you can buy shares in this trust using your Charles Schwab account or your Interactive Brokers account, or just by calling your stockbroker. You can buy shares in this account, but if you buy them today, you're getting them at a 33% discount to net asset value, which means that you're getting Bitcoin, the equivalent of Bitcoin, for a discount of 33%. Now, why do I think this is such a good trade? And let me show you where the thorns are in this trade. So the first thing is, let's look at the thorns. What are the thorns in this trade? The thorns are that they charge you a 2% management fee every year for managing this trust. They charge you 2% for the custodian and the insurance and all the other things when it comes to managing this trust. So if you put your money into this, your money is depreciating by 2% a year, which in Bitcoin terms is nothing. So what? Let somebody else take care of your custodianship and the management of your Bitcoin for 2% a year. I think that's not such a bad deal. But if this eventually becomes an ETF, then automatically this discount would need to be closed, which means that not only would you'd get 33% discount would immediately close. So all of a sudden this would have to go to zero, which means that the price of the share would go up a hell of a lot. So not only would you get the increase in the price of Bitcoin, but you'd also get the closing of the discount. So that's, for me, and I've said it before, and I've been saying it for a long time, that is for me one of the best ways to get exposure into Bitcoin. If you are a long-term holder. If you're a long-term holder, you can buy shares in GBTC. You can hold them until it eventually becomes an ETF, or if the trust is liquidated, one of the two, because one of the two actually has to happen. And then that's it. From that point on, you make an additional 33% profit over and above the profit that you would actually make on the Bitcoin price. Now, why is this discount closing? Why are the GBTC shares moving up so quickly? Because there is speculation right now that DCG, which is the parent company that owned the GBTC trust, may sell the GBTC trust to Fidelity, and if not to Fidelity, to one of the other big players in the game. Because maybe the market believes that in the hands of DCG, which own the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, maybe they believe that there is not a big chance that it's going to be approved for an ETF. Because remember, DCG, which is the parent company, they want to convert this into an ETF. And when that happens, the discount will automatically close, right? So this discount automatically closes. But there has been speculation that some entities, including Fidelity, have actually gone to GBTC and made an offer to buy this Grayscale trust, to buy the Grayscale business out of DCG. That is a speculation. And if that does happen, maybe that gets them one step closer to actually being an ETF and that discount closing. So here's how it works. If you want to buy Bitcoin at a big discount, the equivalent of Bitcoin, because you're not going to hold your own keys, you can buy shares in the GBTC trust. You need to know that if you do buy shares in the GBTC trust, your investment is automatically devaluing at about 2% a year, which is, for me, nothing in terms of Bitcoin. You're also not holding your own keys. So, I mean, for whatever that means, for some people, it's actually better not to hold their own keys. I've seen some people with their keys and how tough it is for them to hold their keys. For other people, maybe it's better to hold their own keys. Are you guys yawning again? Sorry, it was me. Every day. Every day. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Huh? And types very loud. 30, poor guy. Okay, so now big question. Would I go and buy GBTC today? Answer is probably no. And I'll tell you why. I do think that GBTC is one of the best buys in the market. But I also think that there's a lot of hype now around the BlackRock ETF. And that hype around the BlackRock ETF has caused the discount to narrow. You can see that the discount was at about 44% a week or 2 weeks ago. In fact, let's go to the daily chart. It was about 45% like 4 or 5 days ago, and then it closed to about 32%. To me, I think what's going to happen is in a week or 2 weeks, the hype's going to die down around this ETF narrative, and then we're going to wait. We're going to sit there and we're going to wait and we're going to wait and we're going to wait for the ETFs to get approved. And I think in that period, the GBTC discount will start going up again. And then when nobody is interested in it, that is when I would actually start jumping in and start buying GBTC shares. So long story short, very bullish on GBTC. I think it's one of the best buys out there if you're looking to buy Bitcoin, but I wouldn't buy it right now. And actually, I see out of the corner of my eye that while we're here and we're live, I see Bitcoin is actually doing its thing. 29,275. How's that? Let's just enjoy this for a second. Let's just take a moment and say, you know what, we actually deserve this after what we've been through in the last couple of weeks, months. We deserve this. We deserve getting some kind of pump. Let's see what some of the altcoins are doing. Let's go back to the bubbles. Let me just refresh the bubbles. I didn't actually know that we had this feature where you could actually pop a bubble. So if you have one bubble that's actually irritating you just click this. You can't see it. Yeah, let me actually move out the way. And you can see this little button here. So what you do is you just click this button over here, and then you pop the bubble that you don't want, and then all the other bubbles will just resize, and then you can just click off the clicker, and then you can just see the bubbles. And then of course, you all know that you can click in each bubble to see the chat, so you can see why the token's actually going up. Now, this is available as an app and on the Google Play Store and on iOS. And if you download the app between now and tomorrow's show, I'm going to give away $1,000 to someone who downloads the app either on Google or on Apple. So between right now, this second, and Josh, maybe you can put a link in the description so people can actually upload it or go and download our app. But if you do, between tomorrow and tomorrow's show, I'm going to bring one lucky winner who downloaded the app to actually to win $1,000. I'm going to give away $1,000. And if you've chatted in the last 24 hours in any of the bubbles, I'll double the prize money. So let's carry on. Let's go there. All right, I do want to talk to you about something else, because the reason why I want to talk to you about this is because the last time that this happened, it actually crashed the price of Bitcoin. In fact, the last time that happened was very, very, very similar in terms of price and market structure to where we are today. So what I'm talking about is the US government holds a whole lot of Bitcoin that they seized in the Silk Road case many years ago. I think the Silk Road case was 2014-ish, somewhere around there. It was a long time ago. It was 2014. I think it was 2014. I'm losing track of time here. Anyway, the government seized a whole lot of Bitcoin. I think in this case, or specifically around here, they seized 50,000 Bitcoin or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how many they seized. It was actually much higher. It was 215,000 Bitcoin. Anyway, from those 215,000 Bitcoin, about, when was this? This was about April 27th. We had rumors, these were unconfirmed rumors, that the US government started to move these Bitcoin. And when the rumors happened, it was a mislabeled address by this research company called Arkham. I don't know if you guys remember that day. I think for those of you who've been here, you guys would remember this. But that crashed the market like over 7%. We had Bitcoin trading at like 30,000, crashed the market by over 7%. That was just on a rumor of Bitcoin moving from a fake labeled address. Now it is slightly different, because now the coins actually have moved. In fact, yesterday the government actually moved 1,500 of the Bitcoin from this wallet. So these coins are actually on the move. Is it anything to worry about? Well, not really. And I'll tell you why. Because this is news that is actually in the market. This is news that is actually in the market. the government has already told us that with respect to the 51,351 Bitcoin that they forfeited from the 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃 case, they already sold 9,861 of those in March. And now they said that they're going to sell the balance of 41,490 over the course of the year. And yesterday they moved 1,500 of those Bitcoin. 1,500 of those Bitcoin. We think it went into one of the exchanges accounts. So we know that. We verified it for you guys on chain. Here is the actual movement on chain. You can see from there to there. That's the 1,205 to 204. So exactly 1,500 coins have actually moved across there. It should be no surprise. I mean, ironically, when the rumor happened, market crashes 7%. When the actual news happens, market basically says, no, well, we're not really interested in this. This is actually not news. So, look, we will keep an eye out. We will keep an eye out for you guys on that. Let us see. Is there anything else that I really wanted to cover today? There is this. I mean, I know altcoins are actually getting beaten, but there are a few narratives that are actually moving. And one of the things that is actually moving is LSDeFi, which we will actually talk about, which is liquid staking derivative DeFi. We will spend some time talking about that. I also saw that Powell is trying to cool the economy. He was on a hearing earlier, and in the hearing he said that he sees rates higher by year end. So let's actually see what the probabilities of a rate hike are. I reckon they're probably 70%, but let's see what the market's telling us is the probability of an interest rate hike in the next FOMC meeting. 80% chance of a rate hike. I'm going to go out there and say I still believe there's not going to be a rate hike, but let's see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong. I have been wrong once or twice before. I did see this. 5 of the 13 charges against Sam Bankman-Fried have been dropped, and the excuse that they're using is that they're saying that in the extradition agreement between the Bahamas and the USA, they didn't include all these charges. So in order to make the extradition fair, they are dropping 5 of the 13 charges. And I think this might be a way to get Sam Bankman-Fried off actually without any charges. I wouldn't be surprised if he lands up not doing jail time because of these technicalities, because we know that he's been protected by the Dems and whatever else. Also, if you guys feel like watching an 11-minute video, go and watch this. It's on 𝗏𝗪𝗃𝗃's account. It's a video of an alleged BlackRock recruiter. And I mean, he spills a whole lot of beans about how BlackRock actually operate and how powerful
they don't want to be in the news. They don't want people to talk about them. They don't want to be anywhere on the radar.
Why not?
I don't know, but I suspect it's probably because it's easier to do things when people aren't thinking about it. All of these financial...
So, I mean, go and watch it. He spills a whole lot of beans. I mean, nothing that we didn't already know and nothing that we haven't already told you. So nothing that we didn't know and nothing we haven't already told you in the many episodes that we've spoken about BlackRock and how powerful they are and everything else. I think that is it for today. We are going to go now to our Twitter Spaces. So don't forget to join us on Twitter Spaces. We'll be there for the next 2 hours. We'll be talking about this market pump. We'll be talking about everything that we've spoken about on the show and more. Remember also that if you download the Banter Bubbles app, $1,000 between today and tomorrow, we'll get one lucky winner. And if you have been chatting in any of our bubbles, if you have been chatting in any of the bubbles, then we will double your $1,000. We will do the $1,000 tomorrow. We'll give it away tomorrow. Listen, I will see you guys in a few minutes because I got to jump onto our Twitter Spaces. I'll see you guys on the Spaces. Otherwise, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, let's just take a minute to just lie in the sea of green. Let's just relax and enjoy the sea of green. You have sponsors. Who are your sponsors? 𝗏𝗏. Okay. So 𝗏𝗏 says I should speak about my sponsors, but today I don't feel like speaking about the sponsors. Today I feel like speaking about bubbles. So I'll see you guys again in a bit on the Twitter Spaces. Until then, trade well, my friends.